Well, everyone will know the Moldau from Ma Vlast, which is the best introduction to Czech music for anyone. It is so easy to follow the water, starting from the two sources, getting to the little river, into the big river, with the wedding on the meadows beside the river, and the thunderstorm and the big city of Prague at the end. It's very clearly, and that's the most patriotic piece. And the music is always pretty much has the same spirit, especially in the Czech suite, where there's a beautiful polka, as in the Moldau as well, which probably people know from some radio broadcasts are from. That's probably one of the more famous pieces. It's mostly folk music, so that's why it's easy to understand. It's dance music. In Ma Vlast, of course, there are different pieces as well, starting with Vyšehrad, which is telling about the big past of the Middle Age in the Czech country. So it's about the big castle Vyšehrad, which is on the Moldau, just before you get to Prague. And it's, of course, it's, how you say, a ruin? Can you call that a ruin? Yeah. So Vyšehrad is a ruined castle, and you just see the walls still, and you just feel in these walls that they are talking, that they're telling a story, they're telling a story about their past. You hear the harp at the beginning, which is the theme of Vyšehrad, which reminds of the singer Lumír. He's a Czech poet of the Middle Age who is playing with his harp at the beginning, and another harp is responding, and suddenly a story out of the past comes up, which is beautifully done. You already hear the waves of the Moldau, which will come back in the second piece, the Moldau, and then you will follow the history of Vyšehrad. You will hear the battles, you will hear the excitement which was at that time, and you will hear also the fall of Vyšehrad. There will be a big bang at the end of Vyšehrad, where the whole castle will just fall down, and then at the end you just hear the harps again going on. And it's a great piece of mythology and history, especially mystery history, which is coming up. And that's a great place where you get into the Moldau, which is the most popular story, where I don't need to tell a lot about it. It's so easy to follow. The most weird is Šárka, the third. Šárka is a mythological a myth figure from mythology, and she's a woman from the Amazons, kind of an Amazon group, and she did fall in love to a prince and was totally in love, who abandoned her. And that's where the piece starts. She's abandoned, she's totally desperate and so hurt that she will swear revenge for all mankind. Yeah, for every man who will come, she will destroy them. That's out of her hurt feelings. Hurted love can turn easily into hate, pure hate. So she gets attached to a tree by her friends, and then suddenly a new man is coming on a horse and finds her, and gets her off the tree, and they fall in love together. At least he falls in love to her, and there's a wedding as well, and the men of this prince and the women around Šárka have a great wedding together, and then they fall asleep. It's a very great moment when the wedding music goes down and down more and more as a big diminuendo, and you hear already the bassoons, low bassoons, long, very strong 40 notes, which is already the snoring of these soldiers. And then suddenly, once all the men sleep, the women get up and take their knives and arms and kill all the men until the end of the piece. So it's very strong, and it's full of hate, and not it's hate, it's full of misunderstood love and hurted love, and it's completely desperate. It's completely desperate. So the question, what is Czech about this piece? It is Czech, that's why, because in the 19th century the feminism was one, Czech in Prague, the feminism was the first place where feminism started to happen. So that's somehow as well something which is important in the Czech soul. we probably don't understand from outside, but that's the thing. The last piece, which is from the Bohemia's Forests and Meadows, goes back to Czech nature, as the Moldau is, and is just pure beauty about Czech countryside, about Czech melodies. It starts weirdly enough in minor. When you think about a beautiful day and the countryside, why would you start in minor? I would say minor is like a tonality in East European countries, which doesn't have to be sad. It can be absolutely happy at the same time. A minor polka doesn't have to be sad. A minor polka can be absolutely passionate and full of passion, of will to live. And so that's the great thing about this piece. And you will hear birds singing, you hear polkas again, and a definitely great climax at the end, which will conclude this concert. Ma Vlast has two other pieces which we're not doing because it will be too long, which will be totally different than the other four. It's Tabor and Planik, which will go into Czech history. It's not the most popular because foreign audiences, it's not very easy to understand. It's about the Reformation, which started in the Czech country at the time. And it's not really about religion, it's about fanatism. And that's where the Czech soul did rise through the religion. That's why it's so important. But it's a totally different story, and probably should be performed in another concert, just these two, together with something else. So I think we'll be fine with these first four.